Going to record it.
Well, it's going to YouTube.
Oh,
So
all
we're live.
right. All
So we're
right.
live.
It's been a while since I said this, but welcome in everybody to the Redline podcast. I'm your host, Justin Turpin. I'm joined by my buddy, Alex Jaworski. Alex, these Patriots, man, we got to dive into it.
I'm excited to. We're here on YouTube, but it's going to be a podcast form, so we're going to try it out. I don't know what my levels are. I don't know what your levels are, but we're just going to get right into it. And if
It was a
not,
lot easier when we had the studio. A
I
lot easier.
know, thousands upon thousands of dollars in a studio, and now here we are on just about probably worth less than $15 or $20 worth of
Yeah,
equipment we're
this
recording
headset's from
into.
Five Below, so
I don't
we're doing
know.
all right.
You bought
I
this
got
mic for
I got
probably a
that
hundred
I
bucks a
got
couple years ago.
that mic at Best Buy. So yeah, no, I think it was like $40, but that's
Not bad.
regardless of point. Talk about underperforming. That's what we are right now without the studio. The Patriots, the New England Patriots. Let's start from week one, right? Week one, obviously, Damian Harris has that late fumble. My biggest thing with week one, I mean, obviously, we haven't talked about it, so we won't harp on week one. It's now 2 weeks ago, so we won't talk about that too much. But the biggest thing with the Patriots week one is they didn't help the quarterback. You didn't help out the quarterback at all. You go in to win that game, and Damian Harris fumbles that ball. You're in field goal range. If you just kick the field goal, you win. And they can't have those little mistakes. And I bring up that week one, and then week two again it happens. I mean, they play the Jets, but the defense has 3 turnovers in the first half. What did you have to show for it? You had nothing to show for it.
Nothing.
They,
Absolutely nothing.
so you beat the Jets. All right, great. You can beat the Jets 25-6. Zach Wilson throws 4 interceptions.
Four.
You have nothing to show for it, though. You look at the numbers from that game. For a team that had 4 interceptions, you would think the numbers are a lot more pretty here, but they're not. As I'm pulling them up here,
Classic Redline fashion, pulling
yeah,
it as the show goes on. I
well,
love it.
because I don't really like, I don't need the numbers. It's up here. It's in the
We
dome.
see it. We see it.
We
We
see it.
see it
We see it.
with our eyes.
I'm not a numbers guy, and I'm going to tell you why I'm not a numbers guy. You look at Zach Wilson's numbers week one, right? You'd say, oh, he did all right when they played the Panthers. He did all right. No, he was probably the second worst quarterback behind Trevor Lawrence week one.
Right.
If you look at the numbers, the numbers don't tell a story, but in this case they do. When your defense has 4 interceptions, 4 takeaways, and you can't have anything to show for it. I mean, look at it. Total plays: Patriots 57, Jets 68. They had more plays than you, and you had 4 interceptions. Total yards: the Jets 336, the Patriots 260. Total drives: Jets 12, Patriots 11. Passing yards: 184 for the Jets, 159 for the Pats. You look at these numbers, and who do you think has picked off who 4 times? The
Well,
Jets.
I'll be honest with you, Jim. I would have thought Mac Jones got picked off 4 times.
Right. You look at this time of possession: Jets 32, Patriots 27. Yeah, you get the win 25-6, but what did you have to show for it? They didn't show us anything.
No,
You
they
know,
beat the Jets. They beat
you
the
beat the
Jets.
Jets. You beat the Jets. Great for you. Beat the New York Jets. Good for you. It's a rival, of course. You always want to win those games, but it's the New York freaking Jets. You have 3 interceptions and nothing to show for it at the half. You come out in the second half, and show nothing again. I mean, this Patriots team has been severely underwhelming. And even looking back at week one, I'm not a big Tua guy. I seriously doubt why. Like, I don't know why they picked Tua. Tua, they were hesitant. They have the 5th pick of the draft at the time. Justin Herbert's there, but Justin Herbert wasn't really what he is. Nobody knew Justin Herbert was going to be the Justin Herbert we have seen. But you're hesitant to pick Tua. Remember, nobody knew who they were picking. Remember, they didn't pick. It was like when they picked Tua, they were like, some crowd was like, oh, we knew it. Others was like, wow, that's surprising. You have the 5th pick, and you really took a gamble with it, and that doesn't make sense to me. Tua, biggest takeaway from week one for the Dolphins is, they're not going anywhere with Tua. They're not going to win games with Tua. But that's besides the point. You haven't seen a good team. Even the Saints, that's not a good football team.
No, it's not.
Jameis
It really
Winston,
isn't.
again, this is why you can't look at numbers. Jameis Winston, week one against the Packers, when whatever happened there, I don't know what the hell happened with the Packers. Jameis Winston throws 5 touchdowns, but he had under 160 passing yards.
Same thing with week 3. I don't know if you want to get into week 3 now.
Yeah, well, we're gonna jump into week 3, jump into the present. I just kind of want to harp back a little bit because my overarching point, Patriots have not been good.
No,
And
very underwhelming.
And another thing for the Patriots is they lost Trent Brown early in the game week 1 against Miami, and it has showed. You know, if you were to tell me we'd be sitting here talking about the Patriots offensive line being the problem going into the season, I would have called you crazy. I also, if you were to tell me that we would have the same record as the Kansas City Chiefs going into Tampa Bay week, I'd be all for it.
Also
But
call you crazy on that too.
right.
Here we
Right.
are, though. Here we
And
are.
here we are. And we're tied with the Kansas City Chiefs, who are also 1-2. But that's a knock on the Chiefs, not the Patriots. Patriots need to be
Different
better.
side of the coin over in Kansas
Yes.
City as
But
well.
the
I mean, the
Patriots
fact
need
that
to
they
be
have a
better.
competent offensive line, offense, their defense is, but the fact that they've been into a Super Bowl the past 2 years and the Patriots have not, kind of shows.
And here's my frustration with the Patriots. The AFC's wide open. I know you have a rookie quarterback. I know it's like, here's the problem: is there's a lot of stress pressure on Mac Jones, and Mac Jones is not his fault. It's not. It hasn't been his fault. Josh McDaniels needs to open the playbook up. I think about this: week 2 against the Jets, they run that little trick play where James White throws it back to Mac Jones. You take a shot there, and he has Aguilar. He takes the shallow crossing route with Jonnu Smith, picks up 12 yards, 12 yards on a trick play. Those are big play. Those are big hitters. You don't take the shallow cross. You don't take just a first down. That's not the point of those flea flickers. It's to the safeties come up because they're expecting run and you throw it over their head.
Get that
That's what
big
you
play.
expect. That's a big play. And I can't fault Mac Jones. I can't,
No.
and another thing. It's starting to become apparently obvious that they did not get these free agents on the offensive side of the ball at least are not playing out. Nelson Aguilar has a big week 1, but Nelson Aguilar is a deep ball guy. He's a speed guy. How are you going to use Nelson Aguilar if you don't throw the damn ball down the field? You have to throw the ball down the field to get it to the fast guy down the field, right? I mean, common sense. And the tight ends are abysmal.
You saw even this past game when they were down, they aired it out. Mac didn't have the throw. He really didn't. It was overthrow.
And I'm not making excuses for Mac Jones. I'm not making excuses, but this is again why I'm not a big numbers guy. 3 interceptions on the stat sheet, right? One of them, he gets hit as he throws, gets crushed as he throws the ball, comes out sideways. It was like a punt, and he gets picked off.
Terrible.
The second interception, he's just trying to move the ball downfield at the end of the half, gets picked off.
Right.
You're just trying to take a shot. It's almost like a punt. You're just trying to get points before the half. You're going to take that shot with like under 20 seconds to go. And the third interception, oh my goodness, Jonnu Smith.
Jonnu.
You're wide open. You're wide open on, again, another shallow cross, just like we saw week 2 against the Jets. Wide open. Hits him right in the hands. Terrible spot, right? Right in the hands. That's what you always say. Terrible.
Couldn't have been in a worse spot.
Hits you in a bad spot, right in the hands. Hits him right in the hands. And it goes, he tips it up. The ball goes up. And the Saints pick it up and run it back for a touchdown. Interception, pick 6. This is my problem. When you have a rookie quarterback, and you're also kind of readjusting. Last year, the Patriots offense was, what was it? It was miserable, but what was it? They didn't have an identity. They changed they had no succession plan to Tom Brady. Cam Newton comes in, he got signed June 20 something, June 29th or something.
Right.
No, and
no
again,
OTAs, no
we've heard all this. We've heard all the excuses for Cam Newton, and I'm not making excuses here. That's the second time I've said that. That's a bad look. But what I'm trying to get at is, you're making changes, to the offense. You're not going to run the Tom Brady offense you ran for 20 years with Cam Newton. That's not how things work. It's completely different players. So, you're starting to change. So you kind of change a little bit for Cam Newton. And now this year, you got to switch back because Mac Jones is more comparisons to Tom Brady than does Cam Newton. He's not a mobile guy. You saw him running. He is not a mobile guy.
Hey, so, after he dumped the knee brace, though,
that's scary to me too. That's scary
to
me too. I know a lot of quarterbacks wear a knee brace, but this guy randomly just puts on a knee brace after the Philly game. Man, I don't know. I think there's something fishy
just for
there.
Precaution. Just for precaution. I mean, at least he's not like Stone Cold Steve Austin going out with the double knee braces and has a broken neck and whatever.
Well, he will be if they can't start protecting him. I mean, the O-line, it's just
terrible.
And I just want to finish my point real quick with the playbook, though, is you kind of switch it, and now you're switching back, right? You're switching back to more of what you've ran the past 20 years with Tom Brady because you don't have that mobile quarterback in Cam Newton anymore. You're starting to switch back. It's just they need to figure out what they're doing. The Patriot, Josh McDaniels. I mean, this guy has to be coaching for his job, right? I mean, obviously, when everything goes wrong, with the Patriots especially, when things go wrong on the offensive side of the ball, nobody blames Bill Belichick.
Right.
Nobody
No,
blames
of
Bill
course not.
Belichick really for anything. You'll blame Bill Belichick for letting Tom Brady go. You'll blame Bill Belichick for all like little things. As the GM, you don't blame Bill Belichick for coaching stuff. And
Right.
I've never heard anyone do that. And it's just when things go wrong in the offensive side of the ball, you look at Josh McDaniels. And granted, the talent, everyone's excited. They signed Aguilar, they signed Bourne, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith. They bring in all these guys, and they cannot move the ball. It's almost like last year's offense was more exciting to watch. And I just said that. I mean, at the first game, it was like, oh, Mac Jones, future of the franchise, out here playing quarterback. Oh, this is fun to watch. They are so damn boring to watch. It's just why you. And this is another thing, and this is a whole rant at this point.
I know.
This past week, Alex, does this make any sense to you? Because it made no sense to me. You have Damian Harris. You have Ramondre Stevenson, who was a healthy scratch because of fumbling the ball. Brandon Bolden's a freaking special teamer. Why is he getting 6 carries? Damian Harris had 6 carries. Brandon Bolden had 3, and he had 3 catches too. Why is this guy getting carries? He's a special teamer. I won't lie. I had him as a cut candidate. How many special teamers are you going to have? Like special team only players?
Seemingly enough, too, the fact that J.J. Taylor might be a little bit of a preseason darling now. Looking at him, you're going to have to cut Ramondre Stevenson loose at this point. You're going to have to let him run.
How can you not let him
You have
run?
to switch something up.
And and this is, it's tough as this isn't the week to do it. The Bucks, this is the week, and as we'll get into a little bit of a preview later on, but this is the week that you need to use the tight ends. You saw what Higbee did to them. You saw what Dak did to them week 1. And Tyler Higbee had a big receiving game last week. Matt Stafford was throwing the ball over the place. You need to look what these teams did and let Mac loose. If you sit back and do this dink and dunk, it's not going to work against this Bucks defense. And I know they're not the Bucks defense they were last year. They still have Lamonte David and Devin White in the middle. They still got a damn good offensive line with Vita Vea and the Dominican Sue. Their corners need work. Their safeties are okay. Their corners need work. They allowed the second most passing yards in the league so far. You need to take advantage of that.
They have the carbon copy of their starting quarterback. They're playing the carbon copy of their starting quarterback. If you think they can't contain a dink and dunk offense, which is the whole point of their offense, basically, I think Brady's done a better job, obviously, having deep threats and throwing the ball deep. The Patriots have a carbon copy of that offense, pretty much. And I want to go back, and they'll be in damage control probably before half.
Can you believe that spread's only? It was 5.5 yesterday. It's up to 6 already. That'll be up to 7.5 by the end of the week. Easy.
Easy.
Sunday, I couldn't believe. I knew I should have jumped on it yesterday. I saw 5.5. I was like, no way. No way they have that spread that low. Now it's up to 6 already. It's already up to 6, and they switched it to 6 on Monday. So I don't know. This is a little something. Little tip. On Tuesdays, the lines for the week after. So say it's this week, because obviously it's week 4. So today, week 5 lines will come out, and they'll obviously adjust accordingly. But I saw that line. I was like, 5.5. What if the Patriots?
Easy money.
And Alex, we were talking about it on our show on Colorcast. And for those of you that don't know, Alex and I do a show on Colorcast now, a live show. And we were talking about how the Saints could be trouble. The Saints have a great defensive line. They have a great defense, and they have a great defense, right? And they were a mediocre team, and so we saw they're better than the Dolphins. The Saints are better than the Dolphins. The Jets are obviously on. They might be on 0-17 watch. I mean, really, when are they going to win a game? They cannot move the ball
for the second time in 2 years.
Yeah, they cannot move the ball. I mean, when can we expect them to win? I don't think we can. But the Dolphins are not a good football team. The Saints, they're okay, because they have a good defense. Jameis can get it done. He's like, he's another guy that's just kind of can get it done. He makes some errant throws, and that one to Callaway. Are you kidding me? I can't even blame the Patriots. I mean, Duggar has Jameis Winston in his grasp, bringing him down. Jameis just hucks it up. And Jameis literally admitted post-game, he said, I tried to throw it away. I just didn't put enough on it. and
Yeah.
Callaway just goes up and climbs the ladder.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Come again, Marquez
that's the
Callaway.
thing. That's the thing about Jameis Winston, though. You're always going to get honesty with him.
I want to go back to a point you made earlier about McDaniel's coaching for his job. I don't know if it's that extreme, but you got to look at the layout that this guy's had, going from Tom Brady again, like we said, no succession plan for him, goes to Cam Newton, a completely different animal for an offense that he's ran for the past 20 years.
Also, Cam Newton,
And then after that, you dump him. You have him going in to week 1 as your starter. Cam Newton, this is.
how many times do we have Cam's our quarterback?
Exactly my point. And then you go, hey, Josh, let's run it back again. Cam's gone.
I don't know how you can't say he's coaching for his job though, and not coaching for his job. I mean, actually, you know what? Here's what I think back on always.
Last year was a throwaway year, though, is what I'm saying, and
yes,
everybody knows that.
If Bill Belichick just spent a record amount of money on this offense, on the defense, what they signed, Mills and Judon's been worth every penny, and we'll get into the defense in a little bit here.
Right.
But on the defensive side of the ball, you didn't really make a ton of act. Like you got Godshaw, Mills, Judon, but none of them were really expensive. It was really just Judon. On the offensive side of the ball, you break the bank for 2 tight ends because you want Hernandez and Gronk part 2. Nowhere to be found. Jonnu Smith 1 catch 4 yards, and he also caused a pick last week. I mean, you spend all this money on the offense. You see Tom Brady don't even tell me that this doesn't add fuel to the fire. I mean, they're obviously pissed off. If you're Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft, how do you see Tom Brady winning a Super Bowl last year and, that doesn't light a fire under you? It definitely does.
I'd say so.
With that said, I mean, you spend all this money on offense and you can't move the damn ball. You're one. I just read through the numbers on the Jets game. They weren't even pretty. You would think the Jets would win that game. If I don't tell you the score, you hear those numbers and you think the Jets beat the Patriots. You think the Jets picked off Mac 4 times. Against the Dolphins, too. They didn't move the ball very well. The playbook is so elementary right now. It's frustrating to watch. Like I said, dare I say, last year's offense was more exciting to watch than this. And that ball, you were skipping rocks the half the game. It's getting to an unbearable point. You need to let the kid throw the ball. You need to use Damian Harris. I mean, everyone coming into the season, Damian Harris with this offensive line, it's going to be a problem. Where has that been? Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, they're going to help out the run game because they can block and they'll make plays. Where has that been?
Nope.
Hunter Henry, what do you have, 5 catches for 30 yards? Where has this been? All this stuff that we heard about, where has it been? Oh, we got receivers on the outside. Really? Who do you got? Nelson Aguilar? Like I said earlier, how's Nelson Aguilar going to make a play if you don't throw the ball deep? He's a deep ball receiver.
Here's my what I can't put together. Are we babying Mac? Is it literally the offensive line? Or is it just the offense that can't make a play?
Now,
I don't know. I really don't know.
How about we make a little list here? I think the biggest problem right now has to be the offensive line. I can't fault. I do fault Josh for not throwing the ball downfield, but you can't give him all the credit because Mac doesn't have the damn time to step back and let the ball fly. They need Trent Brown back.
And again, you've seen him. You've seen Jones sense pressure really well. You've seen him step up in the pocket. You've seen him try to be as mobile as he can be. Obviously, he's not a mobile quarterback.
It's week 3. He's supposed to be our franchise guy, and he's already running for his life.
Oh, right.
We talk about
this is something you read out of like a Jacksonville camp, Cincinnati camp.
Like Cincinnati,
we protect our guy. And this is not Patriots.
According to Pro Football Focus, last year the Patriots had a top 4 offensive line. They have the talent to do it. I mean,
and they did.
The
offensive line was good last year. You just, Cam is.
Where's Owinu been?
Whatever you want to call it.
Like they need to. It's the tackles. It's inside the tackles. They're fine. It's outside the tackles. It's the problem. I mean, David Andrews had a terrible game on Sunday.
Yeah, you know,
some guy we're usually really reliable. Everyone really counts on David Andrews.
Literally missed consistency.
Terrible game for him. Terrible game for the whole offensive line. And and I'm sure I didn't get it. I know David Andrews talked to the media after the game. I saw it on Patriots.com, but I didn't get a chance to listen. But I'm sure David Andrews was the first to admit it. They didn't look good. They need the offensive line. So I mean, let's rank this. The offensive line has to be the problems because that if you don't have them, if the offensive line is not getting pushed, if your guys are getting beat every play, you can't really do too much in the playbook. And
Right.
and this is another game though, against the Bucks. You couldn't really run the ball last week against the Saints. That's why Damian Harris 6 carries. How do you expect to run the ball against the Bucks? Probably one of the
Oh,
most.
please.
Their front seven is stout, and like I said earlier, Devin White, Levante David on the linebackers, they walk up, it's over. You cannot run the ball. You're going to have to throw the ball. And last week was a good chance. And you know what? When they went down to the Saints, I think when they went down 3 possessions, I started to think, I was like, maybe this isn't the end of the world because this will now force them to throw the ball downfield. Max started to do it. The Patriots started to do it. They didn't look too bad.
Right.
And
Right.
that's
I
the
mean,
frustrating.
like I said earlier, there were a few overthrows, and I think you can agree with that.
Yes.
I mean, they've created separation. He's throwing guys open. It's just, if that sense or where he's kind of, I'm not
And
going to question his arm. I'm not going to question his accuracy. A couple overthrows like that, though, I mean, they're going to be more blatantly obvious when you're down 3 scores and having to play from behind. The Bourne throw was a good, even better catch. Uh, great aggressiveness from Kendrick Bourne, who, kind of, I wouldn't call it a breakout game, but, 7 catches for nearly 100 yards and a touchdown. Pretty good. But at that point, like I said, you're down. I'm not going to question his arm and accuracy yet. I think that's all too early. Just the
no,
blatant
it's all
pressure.
there.
Just
It's
the blatant pressure from his line that he's seeing and
and
running into, hit after hit, quarterback hit after quarterback hit. It's an issue. And whether or not, the Trent Brown coming back is just gonna, put the Band-Aid back on and they're gonna be good to go.
again though, I mean, outside the
It's yet to
tackles
be
get
seen.
worse. But David Andrews didn't play well on Sunday either. You know
Right.
what I
I mean,
mean?
I'm
So
I'm not I'm not so worried about Uwenu, Andrews, and Shaq Mason. I mean, they've been great for us. I know David Andrews being out last year.
let's bring back Marcus Cannon.
Let's.
Let's do it.
I don't know.
Let's do it.
Isaiah
Maybe
Wynn
not.
too
Maybe not.
has been iffy since he cut his teeth here too. That's another thing to think about.
And that's the biggest problem. Again, I said it earlier, and I will continue to harp on this because this is my biggest problem. You have a rookie quarterback. You have to compliment the quarterback. Even the defense. And I promise we get into the defense, and I'll just finish this point, and then I'll transition into them. You're not complimenting the quarterback. Drop passes with Jonnu Smith. Receivers, like, you got to help them out, right? Offensive
Drop
line
drop passes that turn into turnovers.
that lead to points, pick
Like
sixes,
right out of the half when you're already down.
and that's demoralizing for a team. You're down at
Literally
the half.
putting the pin in the balloon and letting the air out.
You're down at the half. You're at home. The fans are getting restless. You just had Julian Edelman honored at halftime. You see him running out of the tunnel, fired up. The fans might get picked up at, and again, I wasn't there, so you would assume the fans kind of get back into it. There's some energy now. Patriots get the ball to start. You score here, there's a chance. You have a whole new ball game. If they scored at the first drive of the third quarter, that's a whole new ball game.
Right.
What happens? Ball goes right through Jonnu Smith's hands, pick six.
Pick
That's the
six.
stuff that cannot happen for any team, especially when you have a rookie quarterback, though. You have to compliment the quarterback, and it's frustrating to watch. And like I said, we promised we get into the defense. It goes for the defense, too. 2 weeks in a row, or 3 games, right? The Saints, they had to get stops to get the ball back and get the offensive ball. Couldn't do it. The Dolphins, after the fumble for Damian Harris, for the Dolphins had to get the three downs, right? They had to get a first down. That was it. They did it. Defense couldn't stop them. If the offense is going to struggle this way, and again, it's tough. It's tough for the defense, but the defense would have to compliment the offense, and everyone's going to compliment the quarterback if that makes sense.
One blatantly obvious thing that I saw, well, not that I saw, but I'm starting to put together is the fact that their defense is still good, and I think we can obviously agree on that. But when it comes to big stops, like you just said,
Can't get them.
they can't get them. They literally can't get them. I
And
mean,
that's something the Patriots have always done, right?
I think their performance in the Jets game is overlooked because of the Jets, but they still picked this guy off 4 times.
and
4
nothing to
times.
show for it. That's the
That's on the
thing.
offense, though. That's on the
That's
other
on the
side of the
up.
ball.
Exactly. That and there's nothing to show when the defense is doing their job, and the defense has done their job. I mean, even against the Saints, I think the defense did all right. It wasn't great. It's almost like dude, you can almost treat Jameis as a freaking rookie quarterback. I mean, the dude's a child, by the way. It's hilarious, but the dude's a
Two
child.
touchdowns, two touchdowns on like 130, literally
No
130
turnovers.
yards.
You didn't turn over
That's it.
Jameis Winston.
That's it.
You couldn't get Jameis Winston to turn the ball over.
2 plays are blatantly obvious in that game. Is the Callaway touchdown that you hold them to 3 points,
Again, though,
and the pick
Jameis,
six.
that's just an incredible play by Callaway. I mean, Jameis literally said after the game, "I was trying to throw the ball away. I just didn't get enough under it." But that's the things that can't happen. And Duggar had him in the grass, and that's the things that you need to take. If Jameis just threw this ball up, it couldn't even get out of the end zone. You let them come down with it, you wouldn't even hold them to 3 points. And again, you never think back. Audric Rosas, had he not missed 2 kicks, so we're looking at a whole other ball game.
Totally different game, right?
The Patriots have not capitalized on the opportunities they've been given by their opponents' miscues. I mean, the Jets, 4 interceptions, couldn't capitalize on it. Tua, he was quiet, couldn't capitalize on it. You were stopping them. They couldn't really move the ball, couldn't capitalize. Last week, Rosas misses 2 kicks. Jameis making errant throws, couldn't capitalize on either one of them. This is something this hasn't been a problem for the Patriots in years because they've always capitalized on this. The defense make the plays, the offense goes out and capitalizes on the opportunity. Patriots haven't done that this year, and especially with the rookie quarterback, and I'm going to continue to say it. Rookie quarterback, you have to compliment him. You cannot do that. You have to play with him. You have to take the pressure off him. You're putting Mac Jones out there, even when Damian Harris fumbled that ball against Miami. That's a big drive for Mac Jones.
Right,
In his
and you can
first
still make the
NFL
stop.
start.
You can still make the stop on the other side.
Exactly. His first NFL start, he makes this big drive down the field. They're in field goal range and chance to win the game. Damian Harris fumbles the ball. You know how much, and that's a big loss. Because find me anyone that thought the Patriots were going to lose to Miami.
I sure had
Not
the
around
Patriots,
here.
that's for sure.
Not around here, especially after Cam Newton and that team beat them last year. Everyone's like, "Oh, Patriots at home, full fans."
And especially with the defense that showed up to that game, you held them to 16 points, 17 points rather.
Yeah,
it was there. It was there. All it was a field goal away.
And it was a big.
Do I think that Miami goes all the way down the field and gets in field goal range and kicks a field goal? I don't know. And I'm not
playing. No. With Tua and the way they're playing, no.
I'm not going to green team here. They're not. No, by any means, they shouldn't be 3-0. The Miami game is blatantly obvious to me as the big stinker. New Orleans came out; they were the better team. There's no doubt about that.
They were, but Alex, they should be 3-0 is the thing. Everyone had them. Most people, if you look around, most people had them 3-0 going into Tampa week. Now you've lost 2 games that people have counted that you were going to win. Everyone thought they were going to win Miami. New Orleans might have been more split. Everyone thought they were going to beat Miami. Okay, everyone knew they were going to beat the Jets. They did. They take care of that. Right. You're 1-1, and then New Orleans is kind of split. 2-1 looks a lot better than 1-2 when you're going in to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
It sure does, because this is an automatic loss. It really is.
And if you actually think that and we'll get into a preview again, and I do want to touch on the Red Sox a little bit. So, if you actually think the Patriots have a chance, Tom Brady coming back off a loss. I mean, this guy's I mean, how do you watch this guy for 20 years and not know what you're going to get? You know what you're going to get from Tom Brady. He's coming in. He's not going to lay an egg. I'll tell you that much.
No, especially against his old team, coming off a loss, everything that's built into it. He's one of the biggest block out the noise guys. He knows everything. He listens to everything. He knows everything that's going on. I mean, you're having his own dad coming on Boston radio stations and saying his piece, or coming on Boston-based podcasts and saying his piece, and vindication this and vindication that. He knows what's going on.
Did you see Tom Brady's statement for that?
Did you see he's on in New England? What?
No, his statement in regards to what his dad said. How he does the Jim Gray Sirius XM Let's Go podcast. He was on that, and Jim Gray asked him about it. He was like, "Oh, are you aware of what everyone's talking about and all this?" And like, your dad said something about it, and Brady prepared like this. It was like a parody speech almost. He was like, "Oh, if he continues to do so, he'll have under Tom Brady Jr.'s watch, like be able to just put him in a home." Some BS statement. It was kind of funny, but
Yeah, he's trying to be funny or
yes, he was
whatever.
trying to
Yeah,
be funny. Yeah, and then he gives his dad a whole shot. He avoided the question. That's what I wanted to touch on when
of course.
you said Tom Brady knows what everyone's saying. He avoided the question, and then Jim Gray's like, so he says the statement, and then Jim Gray kind of reiterates it, and he goes, "Let me just say I have the best father in the world," because he just said that statement about his dad. Starts talking about his family, doesn't answer the question, milks so much time. It was like a 3-minute answer. Milks the 3 minutes. They only got 20 minutes because it's I believe they're the halftime segment for Monday Night Football. So he doesn't have a lot of time. So he just milked it.
Like I said. But on the other hand, though, you look at Bill and everything that's clouding him this week. I don't think it works the same way as Tom going to New England and being able to play. But the scheme Bill might put together here, I don't think the playbook's going to change anything too wild. But he's
It's
going
gonna
to get
have
his
to.
players. He's going to get his players up a little more for this one.
You think that especially the guys that have been here, Slater, Dietrich Wise, and there's not a lot of them that have really been here. McCourty,
No, not yet. Not at this
Andrews,
moment.
James White. Obviously, he's injured now. Guys that have really been here, though. I mean, like, look at it on the defensive side of the ball, offensive side of the ball. Jonathan Jones. Let's start on defense. Jonathan Jones, Dietrich Wise, Devin
McCourty.
McCourty,
Gilmore's
Kyle
not
Van
even
Noy,
there.
if you want to count him.
Right.
Wait, not Gilmore. No, not him because he's injured or wants more money, but
Yeah.
wants more money. But what 4 guys out of there? The rest are kind of newbies.
They've literally gone through a whole new running back and wide receiver room.
Offense. Yep. Receivers. Oh, speaking of receivers,
Jacoby Myers, N'Keal Harry, maybe.
Not even Jacoby Myers. Maybe actually, really not even N'Keal Harry. Guys that have really been here. David Andrews, James White. Can't really give you anyone else.
That's it.
Can't really give you anyone else. Hoyer, yeah, and he's had stops elsewhere.
Right.
Not even Wiskowski's here anymore. So there's really those guys will definitely be more motivated. They've been playing for Bill for a while. Definitely more motivated in that sense. But the rest of them, I mean, they know what's going on. Obviously, this is the national story of the week. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick going at it at Gillette. Tom Brady returning. Everyone knows how big this game is. But I feel like the guys that have been here, that have won Super Bowl, that have won Super Bowls with Brady and with Belichick, know that this is a bigger game. This is not just a normal game. And Tom Brady said once the ball kicks off, he said he's not going to reminisce, but when the ball gets kicked off, it'll be a regular game. He said so. We already know where he's at, but they're going to be extra motivation for sure.
100%. And I hope it's a good game. I hope it's close. I don't know if I'll be happening to wager on this game. However,
I think
maybe
I will
just sit back. Maybe just sit back and be a fan. Depends how my Sunday ticket goes. Maybe not. I don't know. Who really knows? I'm excited for this game. Generally, as a fan, as a football fan, the storylines are endless. And you have Gronk. Hello, Gronk. The same guy who.
No, hang on.
The same guy who retired to not get traded to the Detroit Lions, who got recruited by Tom Brady.
Who else is returning this week?
That would be, I believe, Antonio Brown.
No. Another receiver. That'd be N'Keal freaking Harry, baby.
Oh,
the X Factor. Number 1, N'Keal Harry. Not number 15 anymore. Number 1, N'Keal Harry.
I'm going to go ahead and just go on my phone while you talk endlessly about N'Keal Harry.
Oh, I'm not a N'Keal Harry guy. The summer of N'Keal's over, right?
I sure hope so. Go boy.
But we'll get it, and we'll do another episode before this game, kind of previewing this game. I do feel like we need to get into these Boston Red Sox. The Boston Red Sox, man.
Do we have to?
I think we should. I think there's a lot to discuss here, a lot to vent about. I'm
already gone a half hour. How much is there to vent about?
Maybe a couple minutes. I got to talk about it.
Do you want to take the floor for this one? Because I have nothing left to say about these guys.
Well, yeah, the Red Sox failed themselves again against the Yankees. They've had the schedule in their advantage all season long. all season long. You know, they had plenty of games when they were in first place. Remember when they were in first place?
That was
Remember
fun.
that?
Remember that?
That
That
was
was
fun,
awesome.
right?
Weren't
They
they
played
like
the
10
Rays.
games up? 10
Yeah.
games up?
Oh, the Yankees. They were a little bit ahead of the Rays. They were like a game or two ahead of the Rays. I think the top was two and a half ahead of the
What was
Rays.
the
I
high
think
water mark?
that
Probably
was
like it was
two and a
only
half
2?
on the Rays. Two and a half on the Rays. It was 10 on the Yankees. We were up 10 on the Yankees. But
Right.
the Red Sox had chances to build their lead on again when right before the All-Star break. They played the Rays and they lost. They lost two out of three. So the Rays crawl back in. Remember that was the Wander Franco series where he gets
Oh,
called
right.
up. He
Right.
gets called up. So you fail there. You have a bunch of times, to bury the Yankees, literally bury them. Most notably, not even this last week, coming out of the All-Star break, chance to bury them. Remember that Friday game? It was got postponed because the
Got
Yankees had a
rained
COVID
out.
outbreak.
Kike
COVID
was
outbreak.
complaining about playing the day after the game.
Yes, and then the Yankees had COVID, and they postponed it. That was another chance to bury him. This week,
Yes.
a chance to bury him. Couldn't do it. If you in Evaldi, I mean that's a playoff game. Those three games were a playoff game. You got to treat it as that. Evaldi versus Cole. Man, imagine we saw that in the wild card. Can you really roll out Evaldi against the wild card now? Can you? One
That
game after that?
that
Can you?
that is a tough game to have a stinker. That is not the game you want to have a stinker against.
And my problem with it is too is Chris Sale. I mean he's going to pitch against Baltimore this series. You have to let that guy see 100 pitches. He hasn't even sniffed it. How can you
No, not
roll
even close.
now Evaldi? Now after last week, are you really 100%? It could be against Toronto, or it could be against New York. The AL West teams are out. Mariners and Athletics, they're too far out. We're even assuming even the Red Sox even get there. They need to sweep. They need to sweep the Orioles and the Nationals, which should be easy. Should be easy. They should be able to do it. But knowing this team and what we've seen this year, I can't even trust them to do it. I can't even try. Like the stupid little mistakes. Everyone's blaming Joe West. How about Christian Vasquez? What are you doing?
Throw it right back to the pitcher.
What
Get
are
it
you
back.
doing?
Get it right back to Ottavino.
Everyone's blaming Joe West. No, that's Christian Vasquez. Good, terrible call by Joe West, yes. But you're not in that position if Christian Vasquez didn't make a dumbass play.
In
Kyle
that moment,
Schwarber,
of course not.
catch the damn ball, Schwarber. Catch the ball. Seriously. Like stupid things in their fielding. And this is another thing. Their fielding is atrocious. It's terrible.
Still remains to be seen. I mean, you see Iglesias holding on to the ball at second base or kind of, short right field when you have Rizzo out at second by a country mile.
And
Bobby Dahlbeck going to the first
Iglesias,
base, going foul first baseline.
Iglesias would have been a great addition for the postseason. But had he signed a couple days earlier, he's not eligible for the postseason roster.
And then on the other
That's a
hand,
huge blow.
You have to play him because he's the hot hand. Christian Arroyo hasn't
When was the last time we've seen him?
When
has it started?
Hasn't seen a major league at bat in over a month.
No, he did play. He did play last week, but you have to get that guy in.
One game. Over a month.
One game. Over. Yeah. You put him at first base because that's how bad first base was. You put him at first base against the Twins. Has that? I mean, he looks like a ballerina, dude, stretching out, trying to make that pick at first base. Hurts his hamstring. He's out for what? We didn't see him for 2 months because of that hamstring injury. His first major league, and then he got really sick with COVID. That his first major league game at first base, he has that terrible injury. It looked ugly, and then he gets COVID. Guy couldn't catch a break, and he was one of the more consistent Red Sox. Remember, he hit that big grand slam earlier in the year that gave him a ton of momentum. He was really having a good season, and now Iglesias is hot. You need to win these games, but Iglesias is not going to be there come the postseason.
No, 6 more games and he's gone. That's the funny thing.
You know what? And again, I love Jose Iglesias, and I think he was been great for the Red Sox. I wish they had signed him earlier because he would have been a great veteran presence to have in the postseason roster. And that's even if they make it, they need a sweep, and we're just assuming they're gonna sweep, and that might be dangerous with this Red Sox team. But as much as I love to see Jose Iglesias, I mean, you cannot roll this guy out in these last 6 games. You need to get the guys that are going to be on the postseason roster in there.
No,
You can't play them. What's the use?
especially when you have bad teams ahead that have mailed it in, and
Yes,
they are not going to play spoiler. They are done. They are ready for the season to be over.
the
You have
Yankee series.
The Orioles again, who over 100 losses. They don't want to be here. Nationals too. I mean, Juan Soto's great. Cedric Mullins is great. That's all you have to show for. That's all. That's it.
I like Ryan Mountcastle too, but besides, like, I mean, the Yankees, I get it. It's justifiable playing Jose Iglesias because, like I said, that's a playoff series. That's a playoff series against the Yankees. It's
Right.
justifiable playing Jose. Now, though, the 6 games left, two teams that have mailed it in. You need to play your postseason roster, and if you cannot roll your postseason roster out with confidence against the freaking Orioles, who have over 100 losses, and the Nationals, who have the worst bullpen in the league, if you can't confidently roll out your team, then you are not ready for the postseason. And to be honest, are they ready for the postseason? Like I said, they haven't capitalized on the games that have been almost like playoff-like, if you will, and I say that in air quotes. When they played the Rays, when they played the Yankees, all these times. I mean, since the All-Star break, I mean, what are they against the Yankees? It's not pretty. I know they still have a winning record because they beat up on them so bad in the pre-All-Star game, but man, it's getting ugly.
I mean, and especially the other thing is I'm not saying 6-0 in the next 6 is something they need to do,
Oh, they do though.
but when you have, I mean, Tampa and the Yankees, and then you have the Blue Jays and the Yankees, it's going to be just like dominoes. You lose a few, Blue Jays win, Yankees are still above you. You're the one who gets knocked out.
Now the good news for the Red Sox. Now this is good because the Red Sox are going to again benefit from their schedule. The Blue Jays and the Yankees play each other for a 3-game set this week. So they are going to knock each other out. They split it. One of them will be knocked out of it by the end of this. The Blue Jays will then see the Orioles, so they'll benefit from that. But, and that's the team I don't want to see is the Blue Jays. I
No,
don't want to see them at all.
especially in Toronto.
Yes.
Oh my God. If we see them in Toronto,
and that's a scary thing.
Forget it.
Is I know the Yankees are.
Don't even get off the plane.
So what are we? We're a game behind the Yankees now.
Game behind the Yankees. We play in New York if the playoffs started today.
Yankees are in trouble though. And this is the thing. The Red Sox have been. I can't stress enough. The Red Sox have benefited from the schedule. Yankees, like I said, they see the Blue Jays for a 3-game set, and then they see the Tampa Bay Rays, who the Rays could be just mailing it in. They clinched the playoffs. They have a good lead for the one above Houston and Chicago. Excuse me. They have a good lead for the number 1 seed. But the Yankees, if the Blue Jays can beat them, and the Blue Jays are capable of it. Blue Jays are a good team. Blue Jays are capable of it. Blue Jays beat them. Yankees drop 2 or 1 to the Yankees. Blue Jays get in. Chances are we're going to Toronto to the Rogers Center. Right. Unless, best case scenario, I guess, would be Yankees win 2 of 3 against the Blue Jays, and then they kind of get swept to the Rays, and the Blue Jays get in. And I mean, actually, I'd rather see the Yankees. So I'm rooting for the Yankees. I would like them to drop 1, so we're kind of back at even. I would obviously want the home game at Fenway, but no, you'd much rather see the New York Yankees. I mean, how many times this year have we seen positional players pitch against the Toronto Blue Jays? I mean, Marwin Gonzalez did it. Remember, he was throwing heat, throwing like 75.
Heat.
Christian Arroyo did it. Kevin Pilecki did it. Arauz pitched against the Blue Jays. That's 4 position players off the top of my head. That's not a good thing. When your position players are pitching for you, you're in trouble. That means you're trying to save the bullpen. And remember that game? It was a Sunday afternoon. They played Toronto. They lost. They dropped like 20 on them. The Blue Jays dropped like 20 on the Red Sox. Ryan Brazier came in, or not Ryan Brazier, excuse me. It was who was it? I forget who it was.
Josh Taylor?
No, it was because he got DFA'd the next day. Not Ryan Brazier.
Valdez.
No, not Philip Valdez. Valdez had that big game against the Yankees.
Felice.
No, man. Ryan Weber. It was Ryan Weber.
Ryan Weber. How about a name I haven't heard in a while?
Ryan Weber ate up all those innings. this is the thing with the Red Sox, and we can wrap it up with the Red Sox. I know you didn't want to go too much with them as we approach the 45-minute mark here. Um,
Whoops.
we can start to say our goodbyes, but man, it's going to be a stressful week, for baseball, for the Patriots especially. It's going to be a stressful. It was a terrible weekend for Boston sports, terrible. And this weekend,
The Bruins won in a shootout in their first preseason game against the
yeah,
Capitals.
preseason, so important. They didn't even have media availability after the game.
Anyway, one thing real quick I want to add. I don't know if you know this, but Seattle's only a game and a half back in the wild card.
Yes,
Just saying.
but
If you really want to get crazy and flip everything upside down,
the AL West teams are out. You know what I mean? I'm pretty.
You really think so?
I think so. Yes, I think they've been out.
Seattle has 2 more games against the A's, and then they have the Angels to wrap it up.
Exactly my point.
You want to get really crazy. They're 8-2 in their last 10.
Yeah, they get
you
2
can't
more
say
with
they're
the
not going to fight
A's.
for something.
They're going to fight for something. They'll make it interesting, but I think a game and a half is a little bit too much. It's down to the AL East teams.
I guess, but I mean,
because you get Oakland's still a
added storyline.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, I'm all for the added storylines, but Oakland's still not a team to scoff about. Neither is the Angels, and those are all division.
Unfortunately,
those are 2 AL West. Everyone's finishing up with divisional matchups, and they're all playing in the division. I mean, if Oakland wins one of those games, they're looking at 2 back. That's too much. So I think the schedule for them is not beneficial. Red Sox, I mean, they get a light ending. They need to sweep. Right now, I hope it's the Yankees, but we'll see. This Yankees Blue Jays series is going to be something to really monitor.
I again do not. I die tomorrow. Please air this out everywhere possible that this makes sense. I do not want to play in Toronto.
I don't want to play Toronto here or away. I don't want to play them anywhere.
It's like
green eggs and ham. I don't want to eat them anywhere.
You're absolutely right. I do not want to play them at all. That is the worst. I would go to Yankee Stadium, have whoever trot out there.
It has to be Sale at this point. You cannot roll after last week. You could not put Evaldi out. That was a playoff game. Evaldi gets shelled. They're out of that game in the second inning because of him. And Evaldi's been, it's justifiable that, Evaldi was supposed to be your guy moving forward, like in the wild card and all that. Dude has one of the best ERAs. He is probably an AL Cy Young candidate. He will be. He will be an AL Cy Young candidate. He's had a great year, but and I don't like to judge off one game, but that's a big game to mess up.
That's one you don't want to poop your pants, especially when you're wearing white pants. But
yeah,
the way it's looking now. After that, you have Sale going tonight. 5 days rest is Sunday. That's their last game. Presumably the wild card
would be on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
It would be on Tuesday.
You have Evaldi going midweek. Who's going to sit out at the start? Are they going to have Evaldi?
Yep, go ahead.
Here's the thing, though. They have Sale going tonight, right?
Yes.
They have Evaldi going when? He pitched Friday, so
he probably won't pitch though.
Will he though?
Unless they need him, I don't think he will.
If it's Thursday, you drop a game, you're gonna need him.
If you drop a game, yes, but assume they hopefully don't want to use him. And who pitches in that wild card game? And we'll wrap it up on this final thought. For me, it would have to be you'd have to go Sale at the start.
Sale you have going tonight. You go 5-0. You come to Sunday, it's gonna be safe.
You have to let
You're
him
not gonna pitch him Sunday.
You have to let him go 100 pitches. You have to.
Especially against the Orioles, though.
Yeah. You have to let him go 100
Let
pitches.
him go. Let him throw 12 innings. Maybe there'll be a 0-0 game, and he'll throw 115 pitches on 11 innings. Who knows? That'd be interesting.
It'd be Sale. If you're looking at the wild card, this would have to be my rotation. Sale, Whitlock. Hopefully he can give you some good innings. And Richards. Bullpen Garrett Richards has been really good. I know he had a rough game against the Yankees, but really, who else you can't roll Darwinson out there.
No,
you have the lefty. You have the lefty Sale going. If you need another lefty, it would have to be Taylor over Darwinson.
I know. We want to finish up, but something I hinted to I don't know if I hinted to really, but I think I mentioned it to you and a couple other people that if they get to the divisional series and they even in the wild card, they have great arms like Garrett. I just gonna say Josh Richards, Garrett Richards. They have great arms like Tanner Houck. They're gonna get Whitlock back. They have great arms that can eat up innings. Even Martin Perez, even if you would
Yeah,
just
you
throw
have
an
three
inning in a third.
guys. You have three guys that made starts for you this year: Hauk, Perez, Richards.
And Richards in the bullpen has been next to immaculate. Obviously, couple home runs. Perez is able to go an inning and a third
I don't.
to retire however
I
many you
I
need.
wouldn't want to see Perez in the playoffs. I wouldn't. I don't
You're
trust
going
Perez.
to. You're going to.
I have a
It's
feeling we
bound to
will.
happen.
He's a lefty arm. Yeah, of course you're gonna. I mean, I'd rather see Taylor and I would see Darwinson before I see Martin Perez. That
And
guy's not a big leaguer. He's not.
Tanner Houck has had, terrible luck as of late, but he's still a good arm to throw.
And
So
Hauk's another one. I think he just. It depends on how far Sale goes. If assuming we make that wild card, depends on how far Sale goes, and Hauk could definitely be a candidate to pitch in that too.
So, barring this one game, stop me if you've heard this before, but we can beat the Rays in a 5-game series. Call me
I
crazy.
agree. I agree.
Call me crazy. It's just a
We're at-
divisional thing. Now, Chicago or Houston, I'm not so sure.
But given the expectations coming to the season, to make it to the divisional round would be an achievement for this Red Sox team.
100%. The only problem is I'm more worried about next year than anything because they can blow this up.
All right, and we'll leave it at that as we approach the 1 hour mark here. It's been a pleasure hopping back on here as always. Redline podcast brought to you by Raise Energy. Try Raise and raise your energy. I always say I feel like I'm saying it's too much raise and energy.
Raise. Energy, energy, energy.
That's what I'm told to say, so that's what I'll say, right? That'll do it for us. Alex, it's been a pleasure, my friend. It's been fun.
As always, we'll have to get in a little thing called a schedule going forward with this thing. Hopefully, we can get this up on the Anchor and get it out to the podcast world. Hopefully.
Well, we appreciate everyone for listening, and we will catch you later. Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you.